Hi guys, welcome to yet another episode of the Sauce with OC. My name is OC. So yeah, you know how we do every other week. We have a very, very special person on my hot seat, just having general conversations. And remember, you can actually just follow the Sauce with OC, and also remember to subscribe. On YouTube, that's the Sauce with OC, and follow me across all social media platforms. So today we have baby girl herself, Toke.
Hi.
Yeah, it's great to have you here finally.
I know
You look glamorous.
Thank you.
You're shining.
Thank you very much.
You're
Thank
glistening.
you. Trying to, keep up with the baby girl status.
I know, yeah. You're like the apotheosis of everything, luxury right now.
Oh, wow.
So how have you been?
I've been good. How have you been?
Hanging in there.
Congratulations on this.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah, sure. So, a lot of people would know, like, my first foray into the media was with you as your intern. This was 2011. Yeah. I just got out of uni and I was serving Rhythm at the time. And you were doing the Drive Time show.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. And I was your intern.
We've come a
I know.
I know. Because I remember those days. And do you remember when I bought my car?
Yeah, the black Honda.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I do. I remember.
It's been young. Wow.
I know, and it's great to see everybody just making progress. And, you're doing what you're doing right now. And,
it's great
everybody.
to see you doing what you're doing because you left us.
Yeah.
And then you went to,
the
course,
Yeah.
and you just never looked back. And it's been amazing since then. So well done.
We're trying to be like you, though.
Yeah.
So how's it been for you, though? You seem to be, will I say the Oprah? Okay, you're not as old as Oprah right now. Yeah. But I would like to say you are like, when it comes to media or women in media in Nigeria, you're like up there, you're like the standard. So does that put you under any kind of pressure?
No, the way you put it, when you say you're like the standard.
Yeah.
Because I remember at one of the, I think it was one of the, was it the Future Awards? I was sat with Maya Tafo backstage and he said, you do know that, people, like I remember my first TV show, trending, Three Life Chicks was the very first major one.
Oh yeah,
and
wow.
then trending on Hip TV. And he goes, someone who just got the job. And the person is like, finally she's going to blow. Because Toke
has done it.
Went there.
Yeah.
Then Nancy followed after Toke. And then of course after Nancy, it's her turn. She knows that she's definitely going to blow. And I felt really humbled. I've never really felt the pressure because I'm just doing my own thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how it's always been from the beginning. Just trying different bunch of stuff. You're passionate about something, I just go for it.
Yeah.
That's just the kind of personality that I have.
And that's great. So, talking about Three Life Chicks, I've forgotten about that.
Yeah.
You did Moments, at the time.
Three Life Chicks, Moments.
Yeah. It's
trending on
Hip TV.
Moments, Back Again. What other TV show? We think I've literally, then of course the Toke Makinwa, which is in existence now. It's been a long
journey.
time coming.
Also, I want to point out something. I remember when you hosted your first MBGN, and I got on Twitter. I was heavy on Twitter, and you were trending. And I remember
when am I always not trending?
I remember I had a conversation, and you're like, "Oh, did I do well?" And I'm like, "You killed it," and everything. You're like, "Oh, people are talking," and I'm like, "Yeah, they'll always say something." So you get a lot of, I wouldn't say you get a lot of backlash though.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with it?
I don't. I honestly, at some point, it got ridiculous. You know what I mean? It's just. I started to realize that people just love to take the mickey out of me. Yeah. And I thought, okay, if that's what it gets you feeling good about yourself, as long as I know my truth, and have I had moments where it made me doubt myself? Maybe earlier on in my very first blog scandal, perhaps I was shaking a little bit because I just didn't understand why there was this viciousness. Like, why are people so angry at me? But then I look at myself and I'm like, honestly, Toke, if you were not you, would you like you? I am over the top. And for some people, it's like, why is she always happy? Why is she always shining? Why does she have her shit together? I don't always have my shit together, but the part of my life that I choose to share with you shows that I have my shit together. And for that, if you're going to hate on that, then, okay, it's all right.
So you're inspired. I would say you're one of the people that inspired me to actually write my book. When yours came out.
Yeah.
And so how
Congrats
was that?
On that?
Yeah, thank you so much. It was funny how when I left Rhythm, I always used to run into you and your ex-husband.
Yes.
And it was funny how I used to always see you guys together. And then I think I can't remember where. I think was it at before it became 57. I can't remember what it was. Yeah. Then you guys say at the bar, you're like, "Hey, also meet my boyfriend." I was like, "No, that is not possible," and everything. Because,
why did you say it's
because
impossible?
you guys he would always come to the station. Then.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was like your friend or your guy. You understand? So when
the
you guys said,
funny thing is, my very first radio show, when I got the job, my very first radio show, Maje was my very first guest.
Oh, really?
Because we drove to work together and it was like a love doctor and we did it together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I was very nervous and he walked me through that process. So shout out to him for that.
Yeah, so when you said you were, I just felt, okay. Then I was like, yeah,
you know we were dating?
No!
Really?
Yeah, because he would always come around and he would be like, oh, hi, I stuck around and everything. So yeah.
Oh, she got the sauce.
When what happened, and everybody decides to have an opinion. And you know how Nigerians are when something breaks down, and especially if it's somebody in the limelight, everybody starts to give their two takes and saying stuff like, I've seen the words. People still ask, like, Osi, you and Toke are still cool, because I'm like, because I know her, and I'm not going to be that guy that, if something's happening on social media, I'll jump on that or anything. You've been called the worst words, prostitutes, bronze babe, all of that. I won't lie, you have a thicker skin than I do. Because
I see you go back at them.
Oh, like, I'm just like, and you just, it's almost like with every mean stuff that they say, you just keep getting better at whatever it is that you're doing. But what I'm particular about is, why is it like people in Nigeria, once they see a woman that is successful, they always try to join it to, is it that she's doing wrongs or there's a man somewhere that is,
I think it's easier to believe the ugly stuff than to be challenged by people's reality, because we have the same 24 hours a day and people, just believe that. And at some point, maybe the reason why I've been able to not react so much is, at some point, poverty of the mind is such a bad thing, when you're not exposed and when you're poor in spirit, as the Holy Book says, and poor in the mind as well, sometimes you don't see past, just because in your father's house or in your compound or in your generation, no one ever broke the ceiling. Yeah. It's very easy for you to hear something and think, whew, now which? Yeah. Now, you know what I mean? You know how they say when people travel, they don't hear witchcraft stories anymore. True. It's always when you're here. You're back home. So I feel like there's also a little bit of, when people can't, challenge themselves, it's easier to believe the negative stuff. So it's like, don't trust them all. But when someone is poor, you're not trying to dig the source of their poverty. You're not trying to find out what they did wrong to make them poor. You accept it because that makes you comfortable. True. Perhaps because you're sitting in there and you don't want much for your life. But if you find someone who is doing something that challenges the inside of you and makes you feel like, if this person is doing this, and that's how I see life. If there's someone that I look up to and I'm seeing the person get better and bigger, I don't sit back and think, oh, there must be something we're not saying. True. Either a man, either juju, either, you know what I mean? I'm like, dude, I want some of what this person is having. True. So it takes a mental shift. It takes you being wealthy in the mind. And it's not about money. It's about literally reading books, exposure. Because right now, the creative space, I'm a walking billboard. I make money just being who I am.
Shit, yeah.
But I do, and it didn't happen overnight. Do you know what I mean? I've always shared my process, but they choose to ignore that. I remember the very first time I got paid to attend an event. It was 500,000 naira. This was about 6, 7, 8 years back. That was a lot of money back then. It was a joke with friends. Swanky just said, because when you get an invite and you're like, oh, another invite. They used to throw me there because you only have one shoe. You are not going to have stylists then. It was a lot of,
I know.
It was hard, makeup, stylist. I didn't have all of that. And then I'm like, Swanky's like, ask them how much they're paying. A joke. Did not think they'll be like, how much would you? And I think I can pride myself by saying I think I was one of the very first people that started charging to attend events. Do you know what I mean? Also, I didn't know what influencing, it wasn't called influencing when I started. It's just, I like something, I share it. I like this, I share it. How to? People are fascinated by that. And if you can make money from it, why not? I don't have kids. I'm not married. So at the end of the day, if I'm charging 25 million naira for something, I can decide to change my wardrobe with ease. Do you know what I mean? But somebody somewhere is going to sit back and think, there's a man funding a lifestyle. Because why would you even spend that kind of money on that kind of thing? Just because you don't have it. Do you know what I mean? And I'm saying this in the most humble way because I like to challenge people now. Get off your behind and stop trying to find a source. Because if a man is maintaining, surely, try and do it too. We both have the same 24 hours. If it's easy, do it. So we can then sit down and be like, okay. Your body give you this. Okay, maybe I should try. Do you know what I mean? But we know that these things, do people now at some point, because your brand has grown, are you open up? Do people now give you certain things for free? Hell yeah. I've met people on the flight before who would be like, oh my God, are you that girl? And give me an envelope and there's cash inside. And I'm sorry, I'm reaping the fruits of what I've worked hard for. So, hello.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
And then when a guy does it, because I remember one time Ali Baba shared a story about he was teasing a friend of his about one truck. I like this your truck. And the person bought him the truck. Nobody questioned Ali Baba to say, oh my God, did you sleep with him?
Yeah,
but if that was a woman,
oh
my
God. It's almost like the standards are just all of us.
Do you know what I mean?
As regards, women. So.
And you are also, I'm sure, let's not even lie, there are people that have given you things just because you're OC.
Oh, yes.
There are people that have paid for flights or seen you.
Hotels, everything.
Exactly. So when he's a man, it's almost like, oh, wow, he's a superstar. When he's a woman, she don't enter that hotel room. They must have slept with which man is giving. I'm like,
I don't know, but they need to leave women's vaginas alone. Especially
boy, honestly, like, why are you so obsessed with our vagina? if that person is making money off it, okay.
Yeah,
if that's how you want to live, no problem. You can use yours. You have yours. And if it's not working for you, then make sure your shit starts selling. And stop hating on her. Like, let people do what they're going to do. You know what I mean?
So post that breakup or anything, did it in any way affect, like your brand stock? Like, having people that won't want to associate with you because they thought maybe she caught, bad publicity or something?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't. What if it happened? Maybe one or two. There's a travel agent that is right now trying to get into my good books. I know they've changed management, but there was someone who was who was working in that management then, who was very biased because the person obviously was friends with the other camp and refused to support me. And I remember they were so tacky because there was an official email sent for something and they left a personal comment in there. And I was just like, okay, I didn't respond to that because I just believed in working on myself and working on my craft, and time would tell. And time told, and they came calling, and I didn't pick up because I could be petty like that sometimes.
Okay, cool. So you've left radio.
Yes.
So how was that for you, though? Something that you've done for a very long time. Leaving and wanting to focus on other things that you're doing.
I mean, I think I got so busy, and Silverbird had been such a supportive family. They just would cheer me on with anything. You wrote a book. You're in movies now, you're doing this, they will always support. At some point, I didn't want it to seem like I was, not taking the brand seriously, because I would always love my Silverbird family. Leaving radio was one of the hardest. It was supposed to have happened last year, but I just couldn't find the nerve to do it, because radio is always and will always be my first love. You know what it's like. I just absolutely am obsessed with turning on a button and chatting with over 5 million people, and just having people be a part of your life in such a way that television doesn't give to you is such a humbling feeling. So I wanted to do it last year, I just chickened out. And this year, with all the projects that I had lined up, I've been working non-stop since the start of the year. It's been one thing to the other. And then, I just thought to myself, you know what? June was the month I got employed. June 12th was the month that I also resigned.
Oh, okay.
12 years, June 10th, rather, 12 years later.
Oh, I see. Oh, wow. So you share a lot of your personal life, especially on social media or maybe on your blogs.
I don't know why, though.
Well, it's great. There are people that just love to share, and because you never know who you would touch or who you would influence by, putting out stuff or anything. So yeah, with the tragedy that happened, when you're growing up with your folks and or anything. So, how have you been though? Because a lot of people, like, sometimes we just think that people just put up this very strong, persona. But how have you been able? Because I'm sure that I tell people every time that when you lose a loved one, you think that you go strong and one day you move on. But I just say that the hurt is still there. You just find a way. You just find a way to live with it.
I remember I was saying to Don Jazzy recently, they always say to us, "It is well," and with time. And I've learned to change that. So I don't tell people, oh, time heals all wounds, because there are certain wounds that time will not heal. Yeah. What happens is that your pain becomes a part of you.
Yeah.
Not one day has gone back by, it's 30 years next year since my folks left. Jeez. Not one day has gone by without me thinking about them. It's just something that becomes a part of your life. It hasn't been the easiest journey, because there were certain times that I didn't even know that I was acting out because I was dealing with grief until I went to therapy. And in therapy, for the very first time, when I had to speak about it, I couldn't even speak. It's like a lump was in my throat, I felt a lot of, anger I felt a lot of sadness as well. I remember when I turned 33, my mom passed on when she was 33, and it was such a cold reality that, oh my gosh, she was 33 when she left. My dad was 36. And, but then you just, as I said, you learn to live with the pain becoming who you are and parts of you. And you never want to let it go because, I want to one day be able to tell my children about them. I tell people the greatest love story I've ever heard in my life. This was way before the movies, way before the books, was my parents. I was young, I was 8 when they passed on, and I was much younger through the years. But my dad was the absolute gentleman. I don't know if he stuck around, if my mom would have had a different, it was, those sort of stories that when people ask me now, was my mom even a Christian? I don't really remember. I think his faith covered that. It was my mom worked really hard, but she didn't even need to, because my father was the bishop of the home. We went to bed and he locked the doors. So these days, when you find women going to lock up after their husbands have slept, maybe that's why my standards are so high in dating, because I was born into a home where when everybody goes to bed, daddy does the final work. I was home where, I was raised where my dad would take me to school. I remember I was so little, I used to sit in the car beside him, and there was this traffic warden in Abuja at one junction. And one day he stops by and the guy gives me ice cream. And my dad is like, you see, I'm not mad, I was not talking to myself. I always take her to school. So every time he's passing by, the traffic warden would see him talking to himself. And one day just asked him, Oga, why are you always talking to yourself? And he goes, no, my daughter is actually here. Great Caleb. I remember that he always noticed every single time my mom changed her hair. Dude, I remember my mom had Shadia do one day. That's the first time I knew that was what it was. I was young. But the one where you plait the front and leave the back. And he would tease her. And I would know when daddy's coming back from work, she would change. They were such an easygoing couple. They were in love. They were friends. And, sometimes you find that in this generation, it's very hard, to live by those standards because things have changed so much.
I know, I agree. I agree, man. So, sitting here and listening to you just, reminisce and have so many memories, just saves a lot as regards, the standards that they left and, the memories that they leave. So I see it every time. I tell people that, when you have people that you love, I try as much as you can to just show up and be there because you never know when they're gone. So you won't beat yourself up that you never, had the opportunity to actually, just
one of my biggest regrets was when the incident happened. If I knew that was the last time I was going to see them, I think that was when I first, it was much later on in life I was diagnosed with it. I suffer from delayed reaction. Aki used to call me, Toke moments came from when you guys, I really thought I'm not blonde, but I used to be so slow with my comeback. But it came from that. I remember when he had broken down the door for all of us to run out. And I tell people I watched my mom burn to death. I literally watched her, you see in the movie, someone on fire. And they had managed to put out the fire and put them in the car to take them to the hospital. I was in the dark and I could see them get into the car. And if I knew that was the last time that I would see them in my life, perhaps I would have let them see me. You know what I mean? But it haunts me every single day. I still remember the smell of burnt skin at 38. I remember. It's just a part of me. You know what I mean? So there are moments that I wish, maybe I could have just let him see me one more time before they passed on. But
I totally understand, and I hope that anybody that watches this will be more gracious because you never know what people are dealing with, and you never know what front they're putting on just to get by every day. To be honest, that's what it is. So, you talk about love and you talk about relationships a lot, and you're a firm believer in all of that.
I like love.
So, is there any possibility that maybe finding love again?
I have found it a couple of times. I can't say that I haven't. I haven't been blessed enough to experience what love is, and I think that as I grow older, I'm able to define or appreciate and understand that there are different types of love. It's not every love that is forever. There's certain types of love that come into your life to get you through a phase. There's certain types of love that come into your life to make you realize there's other sides of you. I don't believe that there is one soulmate for anyone because I feel like once you hear that, if your soulmate dies, is that it? I don't think so. I just believe that love, can happen at any time. And if we were less about holding on to it and more about appreciating. So all the people that I've been with in my life, good or bad, they were there for a reason. And, I've gotten to a point in my life that I can actually look back and say, if that relationship didn't work, I can laugh about things and be like, dude, you know, but it came to teach me this, you know, and everything is, I mean, I hope that I don't have any more lessons to learn because I'm running out of, you know, space to be gracious. But, you know, I just feel like they're deep. I have been blessed enough to have fallen in love a couple of times. And, you know, some of them led to pain. And after the pain, some of them led to realization. And after realization, some of them led to me being grateful. So.
Well, that's great to know as well. So a lot of young women look up to you, to be honest. Like you set a standard for a lot of young women out there.
I don't mean to set a standard because I'm just living my life.
Yeah, true. So honestly, because I tell people every time I head programs at Beat FM now, and I say it every time. It's always thank you. Yeah, so it's always easy to find female talent.
Yeah.
Than guys. I don't know why, but if I want a female presenter today, get a dime a dozen. You know, you're out there. So we see a lot of women, you know, wanting to get into the media, wanting to do what you're doing. You know, and all of that, you know, fascinated about everything that you know that you have going on. So, if they're watching right now, so is there one thing that you want to say to them? Because a lot of people actually believe that you wake up one day, do a couple radio shows, do a couple TV shows, and boom, you're on red carpet everywhere. And
I think that's the sad part. You know, that's what I meant when I said to you that, you know, people don't understand the way the creative industry works. I tell people off the back, listen, if you're not passionate about it, if it's not passion that is driving you, don't bother. Because if you're coming into it for money, you're not going to start making money almost immediately. We spoke, you knew those days in rhythm now. Come on, you knew when my first car came.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You knew what it was like. Like, you know, people see the now in a lot of people's lives. I remember the Amala comments that people wanted to kill me for with Wizkid. It wasn't me putting Wizkid down. It was remembering those days where I'm a huge fan of what he's had to accomplish. I knew him when he was from studio to studio, when he was literally on the DJ saying this, and everybody has that story. But people see the glory now. So you find a lot of young boys as well who want to do music. Why? Davido, Wizkid, Burna. Do you know what these guys have had to deal with? So my first advice to a lot of females who come to me, because I get them a lot, I want to do radio, I want to do television. If you're looking for fame, it's not going to last. If you're looking for money, it's not going to last, because there will come a time where you feel like throwing the towel in, and you need to know your why. Your why is what is going to get you from the good, the not so great, the disappointing, the bad, the good again, because it's all the circle, which is one of the things that baffles me about this new generation Z. You know, because I feel like it's okay to want to try a bunch of stuff, but I feel like there's less passion these days and more just, I'm just going to do this for a little while. If I don't like this, then I'm going to move on. If this doesn't pay me what I deserve, then I'm not going to do it. I've had to work for 3-4 years. And then if you say it now, they're like, well, that's slavery. I don't see it as slavery, because that was me putting in the work. That was me laying the foundations for where I'm standing. Now, some young girl sees where I'm standing now at 38 and will be quick to think, I want to be like this person. Dude, if you see the grays on my head, you're not there at 3 a.m. in the morning when I'm chatting with production. You're not there when I'm waking up at 4:30 to make a radio show. You're not there. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough, and it's dedication. And again, that's what I mean by passion. You must be passionate. Passion thumbs, even if you're not making money, because you're passionate about something. Like, look at Messi, for instance. Most of the great guys around the world, they're passionate about their craft. I don't think he started playing ball because he wanted to make money, because if he did, he wouldn't be where he is today. Do you know what I mean? Once you make your first couple of mil, you'll be like, yeah, that's it, I'm gone. So you must be passionate about what it is that you want to do. Fashion, radio, television, and don't work for recognition. Work to lay the foundations that would guide you. Recognition will come, and growth is inevitable. It will happen.
Okay, cool. So recently, final question before going to our game. You've been in a couple of movies. I saw the last one. And you've given a very, very stellar performance in most of the characters that you've played, glamour girls, all of that, and everything. So that's a different animal entirely. So how was it for you, being in the video all this while, then all of a sudden you have a script in your hand and you have to play a character?
It was very tough, because you have a lot of directors who already have a preconceived notion about who you are. People tend to think that, oh, she's going to come on set and be a star. And I may be an accomplished journalist, I may be a seasoned broadcaster, a fashion influencer, an author, but movies was new. I'm literally a rookie, and up upcoming actor.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of humility to be able to compartmentalize and say, you know what, you got to go in with your heart first and be teachable. So I'm the girl who's always talking to my directors. You know, the late B. Bandele, God rest his soul. I remember.
Have you seen Election? Great movie.
No, I haven't watched it
Yeah,
yet.
you should see it.
But he directed Twin Sisters. What's that?
Blood
He directed
Sisters.
Blood Sisters, and I had a couple of stints in Blood Sisters. And one of the episodes that I played in Blood Sisters, he was the director. And I wasn't ashamed to ask any question. I'm not ashamed to, you know, don't look at me when I come on. And I always get that from when we're done with the production. Everyone's like, oh my God, we really thought when she was going to come, she was going to do this, she was going to do this. So I'm the girl who's like, okay, I know you want it this way. Can I try it this way? Do you think you like it this way? Don't give me the easy way out because of who I am. Make me work for it, because that's how I would be better at being an actor. Yeah.
This has been a very wholesome interview.
Yes,
it has.
has.
With everything that you do, is so much passion. You know, I love the new collection for the bag. So. I remember, you know,
you better buy for all the girls that you're doing, because I know OC be very messy. I don't know. Do you have a girlfriend now? Now let me ask this question: do you have a girlfriend now?
Do I have a girlfriend now?
No, because OC, you know, I was like your big sister. You used to be in all sorts of situations.
I know.
Whew, OC, you gave me quite a sleepless night. Do you remember all the girls you would now be salmon for? You be blasting them. I'm like, oh, see, don't do that.
And I remember, I think the one that sticks with me, I tweeted about this a couple of times. So
I remember one story you've never shared with anybody.
I know.
The girl who came around to see you and expected you to give her money when she was going back.
Yeah. No, not that evil one. I moved to Beats, and I was supposed to open, you know, most companies, they'll say, oh, you need to open an account with this bank.
Yeah.
So I was in between opening in that bank.
Yeah.
And for some funny reason, they paid me in cash. So it was first time I was getting such a huge amount of money. You know,
I know this kind of.
So a friend of mine had a party, so I put it in my bag. I had a like school bag I used to carry around back in the day. I dropped it at security guard, and I came back and
they
just stole it.
And
I called Toke, I was like,
you were crying.
I know I did, and he scolded me and gave it back to me, and until today.
Did I give you back the money?
Yeah, you did. You took me to an
did.
ATM on a date of my table. I remember.
Oh my God!
Yeah, you did.
You see, you paying it forward.
Yeah, you
I
did.
didn't even
And
remember.
so today, when people say stuff, and at that time, you understand, you were not where you were, you know, now. But for you to actually just go out of your way to give, you know, an NYC guy back. Just
because you
we're
worked
cool.
so hard.
I know.
You worked so, like, I was so inspired by you back then, because
Yeah.
even as you were interning, you would throw parties over the weekend,
Yeah.
and you were always just like,
Yeah, try to do
I'm
something.
not surprised that you're where you are. Do you know what I mean? Because you were never satisfied with just being
I say it every day,
average, you know,
hard
and
work.
it's
So
amazing.
when people just say stuff, I say this every time, you know, like kind people, even when it's not even convenient for them, like it's something that you never forget. And
Oh,
everything.
thank you.
And also, rest in peace to the guy that brought us all together big time.
Yes.
Yeah, I think about it every day.
I do.
Yeah, I do. I try to shake it
Makinwa
off.
is what he always called me, my last name.
Very kind,
Honor
very
me.
gracious. But
Yeah.
you still continue to rest in peace. So. Okay, so we're about to jump into Truth to Source.
Oh, she got the sauce.
Yeah, so basically we play a game. It's called Truth or Source.
Oh
So
my
I'll ask you a
God.
question. So if it's true, you say true. Then if you don't want to answer, you say source. Then you take a drink.
So let me get that right. If it's true,
You say true. No drinking.
no drinking.
Yeah, then if,
So-
if you don't want to answer, you say source.
Okay.
Then you drink.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. So
All right.
that's it.
So it's like never, ever, never have I.
Yeah. So
Right.
my own, you know.
Your own version, okay.
Yeah. So we came here on no alcohol.
And then you now replace no alcohol with a lot of sugar. This is a glass of sugar.
Oh well, you just a little sip.
Oh my God, I hope
Yeah,
I get
sure.
through without sipping.
Cool. So first question: ever had a one night stand?
I'm 38. Come on, man. There's some things you shouldn't ask me.
There we go. I kissed on the first date. Yeah. Wow. Have you ever fangirled any celebrity?
Oh yeah, Pharrell, outside Crystal.
Oh wow. Okay. Nice.
Lost my mind. And before he came, when the guys were like, Pharrell is coming, I was like, I don't even care about Pharrell. I'm not with Pharrell. I'm not with Pharrell. I'm scared. Oh my God, I almost died.
I know. Have you ever
Yeah.
farted in public?
So I don't understand. If I have,
If you have,
You say yes.
You say true. Yes.
yeah, now come
Oh,
on,
okay,
like
great. So have you ever?
I'll just
gone-
pretend it's not me.
I know. Have you ever gone commando? So going commando.
Always.
Wow.
I don't wear any briefs. Like, who wears underwears these days?
Wow. Okay. Great. So yeah, 4 out of 5. That's nice. So thank you so much, Toke, for coming. And to everybody watching, make sure you follow the Sauce with OC and also subscribe. Yes, right here on YouTube. That's the Sauce with OC as well. And you can follow Toke Makinwa across all social media platforms. What are your handles again? Talkstar.
On Twitter,
On Twitter.
I am at Tokestar with a double R. Do not forget the double R. Instagram, Toke Makinwa. TikTok, Toke Makinwa. Facebook, not there. Snapchat, Toke Makinwa.
And also Toke Moments as well. You can
Yes, my podcast, which you have to come on.
I do. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I've been on one before.
Yeah, so now we have like a full Toke
one.
Moments
Okay, cool. Please
podcast.
just let me know. I'll come
Yeah.
through. Love what you did. And
Thank you.
It's, like I said, it's always very comfortable having conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So thank
And
you.
then
This
he
has
got
been
me
very-
to admit all the things.
Yeah, I know. So this has been very wholesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Anytime.
All right.
Oh, she got the sauce.